Hello, everybody. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Sunny day in Chattanooga, Tennessee today. And thank you, as always, for listening to the show. This is Clutch with Keon Rose. I'm Keon Rose. And I'm glad that you try to listen to me any way that you can. If you listen to me on YouTube, with the live stream, if you search Hot News Talk Radio there, or on hotnewstalkradio.com, or using the TuneIn Radio app, you search Hot News Talk Radio, give us a follow and press play, and you can tune into the show that way. Appreciate it. I really, honestly do. We got a lot to talk about today. We've got a baseball story that's a little old, but honestly, nothing's too old when it comes to being a dirty player, as in the case of Chase Utley, who, when he slid into second base, injured the leg of Ruben Tejada for the Mets. And honestly, I mean, it was so blatantly dirty. The reason why I have to talk about this today is because I missed the play originally. I was on the road. I was traveling. The play was so blatantly dirty that it's hard to imagine a place where anybody looked at that and thought, oh, this is kind of a bang play at the plate. No. And it was weird because I was listening to the commentators talk about it, and they were like, you used to see stuff like this all the time. And I'm looking at that play and going, he doesn't even try to touch the bag. He doesn't even try. It doesn't even look like that was a thought in his mind. Now, the best case scenario for that is, okay, maybe he was just going to slide in and try and break up the play, but it still doesn't work in that regard because he's nowhere near the bag. He's not even kind of touching it. It's the dirtiest thing I've seen in a really long time. You broke a guy's leg. He's probably done for the postseason. That kind of behavior is reprehensible. He played the next day. I don't know why he wasn't suspended. He got booed, which he deserved. And he also got, there's a sign from a small child. He was holding up a sign that said Chase Utley is a Butley, which is funny in a cute sort of way. But also, very true, small child with a sign. Very, very true. That's absolutely reprehensible behavior, especially since it resulted in an injury. Ruben Tejada broke his leg. He broke his leg. It's crazy. It's absolutely, like, you can't look at that play. The thing is, like, I watched it. I watched it on a nearly endless loop the other day, and I was just watching it, and I was just amazed. He's not even close to touching the base. He doesn't even pretend. Like, there's you look at all of these, you see hard fouls in basketball or holding in football or something like that, and you're just like, well, that's obviously against the rules, but guys will pretend. Guys will at least act like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. There's a hubris there that I do not like from Chase Utley. When you go to injure a guy, and he did go to injure him, and he didn't even pretend. He didn't even give the viewing audience and the in-game officials and the people watching in the stadium the dignity of having pretended to do anything other than injure Tejada. He went straight for his legs. He slid in there and he went straight for his legs. And it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. I think if Ruben Tejada has to miss the postseason, I think Chase Utley ought to miss it too. It's not, I mean, an eye for an eye is not necessarily the greatest way to go about dispensing justice. But in this particular instance, This works pretty well. That works out pretty nicely. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio Clutch with Keon Rose. In a little bit, we'll be having Mr. Judd. We're gonna do our picks for college football. We've got UCLA and Stanford coming on tomorrow, and that's in the picks, which is why we're going to jump it up a day. We're going to pick a little bit early, and I'm excited about that. Nothing dirty there. No Chase Utley here. Okay. My goodness, that was dirty. I can't even fathom why he wasn't just ejected from that game instantly. And why he's not suspended yet. That I can't. We're going to probably get back to Chase Utley later because this is how soapboxes get created. I'm looking at you, Commissioner Rob Manfred, and Major League Baseball to remove this guy because he's dirty. You know, that when you talk about performance-enhancing drugs tarnishing the look and feel of the game, you know what's worse than that? A guy who can injure another player and get away with it. That'll tarnish a lot of things too. Maybe that's just me, but I can't be the only person who thinks that. That is incredible. But if we're going to talk about performance-enhancing drugs, since it came up, Florida quarterback Will Grier got his shot this offseason to become the starting quarterback of the Gators, and he did. He did take over for Treon Harris. And he did so in part because he added 46 pounds of muscle to himself in 1 year, which, as the USA Today article said, that's taking the freshman 15 to a whole new level. I'll say, when I was a freshman, I gained about 15 pounds because eating was really easy to do. It's real easy to do. But in this case, Will Grier added on 46 pounds of muscle. So that's not eating, that's going to the gym. And he's been suspended for the rest of the season because he has been caught using performance-enhancing drugs. Now, initially, the prevailing thought was that the drug was Ligandrol, which is something that Gym Guy and other gym goers use when they don't want to go on steroids necessarily. And from what I understand, Ligandrol is great for bulking, which is exactly what Grier did. It's great for bulking, and it adds a lot of, water and glycogen to your muscle. So it makes you look huge. I Googled Ligandrol, okay? And the first thing that came up, and I'm not even kidding, was a write-up on Ligandrol from a website called swoleheadquarters.com. It's from swoleheadquarters.com. So if your life is just about getting swole and you don't have to think about anything else, apparently that's the website you want to go to. They had the whole thing about this is what Ligandrol is good for. This is what it's not good for. It's good for bulking. It's not great for cutting. I learned everything I needed to know this morning about Ligandrol from swoleheadquarters.com, which ought to indicate the shadiness of this at least a little bit. Because I was like, oh, when was the last time you heard of a guy getting popped for performance-enhancing drugs in college football? You see it in the pros every now and then, and even then it's usually like Adderall or something like that. It's you don't really see a lot of guys like getting huge in football because it's not like that's something that would help you depending on your position. And I can't imagine, like, you're a quarterback, like being able to throw the ball farther, I guess would be helpful. But if you're not accurate, if you don't understand the playbook, like that doesn't really help you. I mean, for the love of God, we have Peyton Manning out there using his entire body to throw a football. And you know what? He's still somehow getting it done on pure brain power and anticipation. So you don't need to throw the ball a million yards to be successful, especially in college. Since College is about, speed. Let's get the ball out faster. Let's get the ball out quicker. You don't need the Matthew Stafford super rocket laser arm. You don't need all of that stuff to get the ball out there in college. So it seemed to me that was you don't hear about people getting popped for PEDs, especially when it comes to strength PEDs in college. I can't think of the time I heard about it. Maybe I'm not paying attention enough, but it just doesn't happen all that often. Guys will get popped for marijuana. Guys will get popped for recreational drugs in college, more so than performance-enhancing drugs, which makes a lot of sense to me. It really does. But here's Will Grier. He gets popped for the performance enhancer. Not sure. But the thing is, like, if you read the reports for Will Grier when he showed up to camp after the offseason, a lot of the reports were, what did this guy eat? 46 pounds in a year? What did this guy eat? Well, if he was steadily on Ligandrol, there have been reports that people have gained up to 1 to 1.5 pounds a week on Ligandrol, depending on their diet and their workout plan. So Will Grier took full advantage of that. What he ate was Ligandrol. It was Ligandrol. Now, Florida is denying that it was Ligandrol, as Ligandrol does not have hormones in it. It doesn't have testosterone in it. It gives you close to the gains of having HGH and steroids, but it's not necessarily a steroid. So if you wanted to skirt that line a little bit, not sure if underneath the NCAA guidelines that is a banned substance or not, but the University of Florida saying that it's not Ligandrol that he got suspended for, but they refuse to say what it is that he did get suspended for, what banned substance he did take. That's what's unclear. But either way, there's no way that you were Will Grier and looking not just Will Grier, anybody in any competition committee ever looked at Ligandrol and said, that is totally fair that you can take that. That's fine. That is in no way performance enhancing. 46 pounds of muscle. Will Grier went from 170, okay, to 206 in a year as a freshman. That's nuts. That is huge gains, as the gym guys will say, as the gym guys will like to tell you. That's huge gains. Huge. So, I'm not shocked that he got suspended, but that's going to be a huge loss for Florida, who, from all appearances, they appear to be back. They appear to be back. And I can't think of the last time a quarterback got popped for performance enhancers specifically. In football, a lot of the drug use is just recovery and pain. You're trying to come back from things faster. This is almost baseball stuff with this. He's not just doing it to recover and get back faster. He's taken a drug that's just made him enormous. So when he competed against Treon Harris for the job, that's not out of the realm of reality that he could take it, because you're not looking at a small kid that can't take the shots. You're looking at apparently a man-child. You're looking at He-Man over there and wondering how He-Man became He-Man so quickly. It's strange. It's just very strange. So he's suspended, and I'm not at all surprised. The more I read about Ligandrol, the more I'm like, yeah, I don't feel sorry for you. The more I think to myself that I don't feel bad for him at all, really. Not even slightly. I can't help it. This is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio Clutch with Keon Rose. And you know what's good? Mexican food. Very few things are, in fact, better than Mexican food. Better and more loaded than Ligandrol? Delia's authentic Mexican food, with a rich selection of loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, and enchiladas with beef, chicken, and pork. And tamales and enchiladas, those are some of my favorite foods. Quesadillas. It's at Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light, with the freshest ingredients cooked to perfection for lunch and dinner. Treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. Delia's. This is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. And we'll be back with more college football talk with Mr. Judd doing the picks next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world. Fox News Talk 1240.
It's Rick Davis Golden Diamonds half-off remounting party going on right now. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds half-off remounting party is an affordable way to revitalize your jewelry. Don't miss the party going on today at Rick Davis half-off remounting party. Give your diamond ring a fresh new look or a new design, as Rick's Golden Diamonds will fix it quickly, or maybe even while you wait. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, 40 years of service, 5301 Brainerd Road, 5301 Brainerd Road. Call 580-2587, 580-2587 for Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, an affordable way to revitalize your jewelry. The half-off party's going on today, so don't miss it at Rick Davis Golden Diamonds. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road. Call 580-2587. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds.
Tired of insurance companies? Tired of doctors that won't spend time with you? Do something different. Leave the sick care model of medicine and come to Dr. Danielle Mitchell, the Chattanooga Sports Institute and Center for Health, where we're interested in long-term health solutions, not the quick fixes. Come see me, Dr. Danielle Mitchell, at the Chattanooga Sports Institute and Center for Health. I'm all about the long-term healthcare solutions and doing what's best. On the web, you can find me at ChattanoogaSportsInstitute.com. That's ChattanoogaSportsInstitute.com. Or call us at 875-1005, 875-1005, or find us on social media, Facebook, Dr. Danielle Mitchell, or the ChattanoogaSportsInstitute.com. Let's go, ya!
Are you tired of working in corporate America, or have you recently lost your job and would like to consider owning your own business? If you are, please call me, as I can help you look at franchises or business opportunities that fit you, the economy that we're in, and the type of businesses that are right in the greater Chattanooga area. After I help my clients find the right opportunity, I also help them find the best way to finance the business, including paying yourself through the startup phase. If you would like to learn more about opportunities that may be right for you, please call me for a free assessment. My name is Bruce Krebs at the Entrepreneur Source. Phone number is 423-875-5621.
That smells so good. Smells like a big Italian dinner. But you're going to walk out with two. Buy one hot pizza, get a one for free. 2 pizzas. You got the 2 for the price of 1 at Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. My favorite Italian restaurant of all the time. Now, I'm living in Hicks, and I go to Raphael's right down the street in Hicks and Pike, right near Highland Plaza. You're in Sauter Daisy? Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria in Sauter Daisy. Just next to Sauter Daisy Church of God. Hey, you're in Signal Mountain, there's a Raphael's Italian Restaurant and a Pizzeria. It's right on the main drag. You're going to love the pasta, the pizza. Buy one hot pizza, get a one for free. 2 pizzas. You got the 2 for the price of 1 at Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. Tastes so good. Bring the whole family. Come on, Raphael's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. Mangia. Salute.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report, every Sunday at 9 a.m. Did you know that 1/4 of the world's population will experience mental illness? My guest this week is former Congressman Patrick Kennedy, who says the United Nations must make mental illness a priority. Find out why this Sunday at 9 a.m. on the Costa Report, right here on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world. Fox News Talk 1240.
This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. This is Clutch with Keon Rose. And for this segment, every week, Wednesday or Thursday, depending on which games we feel like choosing, Mr. Judd, who joins me to do the picks.
Yes, sir. How are you, Mr. Rose? I know you're walking on cloud nine and your Longhorns pull the massive upset. The one and only Oklahoma, no more Boomer Sooners.
Winning the Red River Shootout is one of the best things that happens in my sports year.
Yes.
Just on the calendar, all 365
Absolutely.
days, that's usually the best one.
Texas off this week.
They are off this week.
So is Arkansas and Tennessee.
So none of our usual picks.
Yeah, none of our usual picks. So we had to jump out of the box and find some new ones. But I think we have some pretty good ones.
Okay. Just really quick, how about Tennessee beating Georgia the week that I don't pick Tennessee?
I know. I bet Tennessee fans are saying, please don't pick us again. Please.
You know what? I won't.
Please don't pick us again. They don't have to worry about me doing that.
Not at all.
Yeah, they could play Team ISIS. And I'd probably pick those pesky Muslims.
Oh, boy.
So,
wow.
Well, we have a game. We're actually going to start. The first pick is going to be on Thursday night because that's a pretty big game. UCLA travels to Stanford.
UCLA travels to Stanford. Stanford, the 6.5-point favorite over the Bruins.
The Cardinal.
The Cardinal,
which is it's actually a color.
The tree.
The color over UCLA. I'm gonna take Stanford. I think they win by 7. Because they're built like an SEC team, not a Pac-10 team.
They are. Defense. I mean, that defense is scary. What they do over there. I'm going to take UCLA. I don't think UCLA is going to win.
But you think they'll cover the 6.5?
But I think they'll cover the 6.5. So I'm going to go with UCLA.
And I'll take Stanford. And that's Thursday night, and it's a late game. It's like a 10 o'clock game.
Okay.
So you won't get to bed till 1 or 1:30.
Which is perfect. I'll be able to catch that one too live, as I usually do not. West Virginia takes on Baylor, and last season that was interesting.
And they're both ranked.
They're both ranked. Yeah. And Baylor last year, they beat TCU. It was a huge game for them, and then the letdown game was them going to West Virginia and just getting
losing. Yes.
Skunked. So
you could say West Virginia kept them out of the playoffs.
I think West Virginia did.
So
that and the fact that the Big 12 doesn't have a champion, they made them co-champions to try and get them both into the. That was silly. That was silly, and it cost them.
I'm gonna take Baylor in the 21. What do you think? I think they're mad. They've got something to prove.
I think so too, and I also think that offense is insane.
It's amazing, and it's a basketball. You hear that all the time, but it's truly a basketball offense.
They look like what Oregon used to look like in the only better.
Yes.
And their defense is actually, at least for a team that doesn't focus very much on defense, pretty decent. And
it's decent. That's right. It's enough to keep someone from scoring once or twice so you can beat them by 21.
Exactly. And when it comes to the Big 12, you only need a decent defense. You don't need a great one.
So who are you going to take?
I'm going to go with Baylor. I'm going to go with Baylor also.
Take Baylor too. I think Baylor covers.
It's going to be interesting. I think that Baylor wants revenge for last year, and that's why I'm going to go with those Bears.
Game. Baylor's at home. I think you take the 21 points. Now this is an interesting one. Ole Miss
and Memphis.
And Memphis is perfect for the year. 6-0.
They're 6-0.
Pretty good. I've watched Memphis a couple of times from that area. I actually went to school there.
Yeah.
When it was Memphis State, back when it was a basketball school.
And wow.
Keith Lee and all those good guys there. So
and until recently, still probably more of a basketball school.
I would say it still is.
Calipari coached there not too long ago.
Still is.
Derrick Rose.
School, so
yeah.
But Ole Miss travels to Memphis, and they're a 10.5-point favorite. Who do you like?
I like Ole Miss, even though Memphis has been playing well. It's really got nothing against Memphis. I think Ole Miss has been struggling, but they've been struggling in the SEC.
Right.
And I think the quality of their opponents are typically higher than that of what Memphis is playing.
Memphis doesn't have a great defense, They have pretty good offense, but I'm with you. I think Ole Miss is just bigger, faster, better, and they're stepping out of the SEC. And it's just, I think Ole Miss wins probably by 14.
Thereabout. And I'm okay with all of that, actually.
There you go.
We haven't had any scary games so far.
Now, I like this game. Michigan State and Michigan.
See, this is a game that I actually don't want any part of.
But Michigan when was the last time they allowed a score? They've had, 3 games where they've shut their opponents.
They had the BYU and Maryland.
Now, did Maryland score on them? I don't think they did.
Maryland didn't score.
Okay.
And I don't remember who the third team was.
Last week, they played Northwestern.
They played Northwestern and shut them out.
So the past 3 weeks, they've shut them out. Michigan State struggles last week. So they're at the big house.
And Michigan State, that offense is kind of sputtering.
It is.
It's not as powerful as it once looked.
But their defense is still very good. Michigan has a great defense. Michigan's favored by 8. I'm going to let you take the first pick on that.
I'm going to go with the Spartans. This feels like a bad idea. I feel scared about it.
Okay.
But I think even if Michigan State doesn't win, they'll at least cover.
I'm going to take Big Blue.
Really?
I believe in Harbaugh. And here's why I believe in Harbaugh. Here is an instance where a new coach comes in, really doesn't have his players in place, but because he is a good coach, the team is good.
Yeah.
Instead of all the excuses we get from Arkansas and Tennessee, where he has to have his players. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're a good coach, as I used to say about Bear Bryant, he can take his'n and beat your'ns, and he can take your'ns and beat his'ns.
There you go.
Yes, that's a little Squatchy Valley for you.
I know.
So I'm gonna take Michigan.
Taking it all the way back.
Take Michigan State. And the look, if you need to be watching on YouTube, the look on Keon's face right now was, oh my gosh, he really is a redneck. Okay, we got Alabama at Texas A&M. Alabama is favored by 4.
Alabama and A&M. The thing is, okay, when these two teams have gotten together over the past few years, it's been unpredictable.
And why?
Just crazy.
Yes. The weirdest plays happen. But A&M at home, both in the top 10.
See, and I don't like that 4.
Yeah. There are 3. That's one.
Yeah. I don't like that 4 very much. It's making it very
Alabama on the road. They look pretty good against Georgia on the road. I'm gonna take Alabama. I mean, I need Alabama to win. First of all, I'm not gonna take a team from Texas. I mean, my gosh, would I ever do that? No.
Oh, and I'm usually with you when it comes to the Aggies. I don't like them. Actually know a lot of people who go there.
Right.
And I still don't like them.
So they cadets.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah. So here we go. It's a big pick for him.
I'm gonna go. That 4 bothers me a lot, but I'm still gonna go with Alabama.
Alabama. Okay.
I'm gonna go with Alabama. I'm waffling on it, but I'm gonna go with Alabama.
You really are.
You can feel it.
Vanderbilt at South Carolina, and it's a South Carolina without Mr. Spurrier.
Without
the old ball coach.
Without the old ball coach.
And it's at Carolina, and they're favored by 3.
Here's the thing. This is a trap pick.
Yes.
Because you want to look at this and go, oh no, Spurrier. You want to choose Vanderbilt just based on that alone.
But it's still Vanderbilt.
Now, Vanderbilt actually has been surprisingly really good at defense.
I agree. And South Carolina has been very surprisingly very bad at offense.
Yes. So, even though
Vanderbilt do it on the road,
my reasoning and my rationalizing tells me I ought to take South Carolina, I'm going to go with Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Whom I have not chosen not once this entire season.
That's probably a good
and for many good reasons.
I'm going to go with South Carolina. I think it's a big blow to them that Spurrier's gone, but I think they're going to do one for the team, and they're going to come together. They had the flooding. They've had the other natural disaster of losing Spurrier. So I think that South Carolina's time is here, and I think they beat Vandy by more than a touchdown.
Yeah, that's completely reasonable. I'm just being crazy right now.
And I'm not going to use the same logic on the next game, which you could, and that's the other USC.
The other USC, Southern California, and Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, yeah.
The Fighting Irish.
Mm-hmm. Your favorite.
And the well, And Notre Dame is a 7-point favorite at home.
At home.
All right.
I like Notre Dame. I think USC is a mess. I think they've been a mess. And, I think it's going to be hard for them to get in more than a couple of wins this season. And I think Notre Dame is primed for them, needs to beat them, and needs to beat them bad. I don't think 7 points is enough.
I don't think 7 points is enough either. I really like Brian Kelly a lot. I think he's a good coach. I also like the Notre Dame offense, just how they move the ball. They use a lot of clock. I'm a huge fan of just that team right now.
Right.
And yeah, like you said, USC, they're falling apart at the seams.
They're a mess.
It's one thing when you're Spurrier and you walk away. It's another thing when you're Sarkisian, you get shoved out the door.
We're going to let him take a leave of absence, and then we're going to fire his butt.
Right. We're going to put him on the 12.
Everything, and he goes into rehab. It's a weird situation.
We're going to put him on the 12-step program. 12 steps out of this building, you're fired.
Yeah, you take 12 steps, get the heck out.
Notre Dame is the smart pick here. I think it's much safer, and I don't know where USC's season goes from here. Even
how about? I don't think it does. I don't think it goes anywhere. They're hoping they're going to get a decent coach somewhere. And so, all right, Missouri at Georgia. Georgia coming off a devastating loss to Tennessee, and then they get steamrolled by Alabama the week before. Missouri. I don't know what team will be there from Missouri. They are just.
I don't either, but I'm guessing that the team we saw last week, that's the real Missouri, the one that's not very good. I honestly think that's the real Missouri Tigers. And even though Georgia did lose to Tennessee, first off, I think that makes them mad. I think they want to take out all of that anger and frustration on Missouri. And I think that 16 points is probably not high enough.
And I am with you. I think Georgia, they're tired of hearing how bad they are. They're tired of hearing how Rick can't do it. And I think they come out and they just wax Missouri.
And that's going to be a hard game to watch.
It is. Now, this one's interesting. Oregon at Washington, and Washington is favored by 2.5.
I see this 2.5.
Yeah. Well, that's so, the house needs to make some money.
I know. Goodness. Yeah. Well, the thing is about Oregon, their offense is good up until a point, and then it just stalls, and we don't know why it can't move. And I don't trust it the way that you used to be able to walk into a game and go, well, look, Oregon they're just going to score points. Right. That's what they do.
And you're right. You don't know what are they going to score?
No clue.
That's it. And they have no defense. You and I could start for them.
We could just get 9 other friends.
That's it.
And probably score on Oregon's defense.
Absolutely, we could.
I'm gonna go with Washington.
You know what? I'm with you there. I have no faith in Oregon anymore. Even if they were at home, I wouldn't have any faith in them. So on the road at Washington, and I think Washington covers, and maybe by more than 2.5 or 3, maybe by 7.
That school used to have one of the great nicknames in college sports. They were Scoregan.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
We are scored upon it.
Which is not as catchy, but also just true.
Now, Nebraska at Minnesota. Nebraska loses a heartbreaker to Wisconsin. Lost in the last basically minute of the game. So how do they bounce back? They're basically what they've done is it's -2 for Missouri because they're the home team, and that's it. Not Missouri, but Minnesota. This is another one of those games. That's why I put it on here. You're going, I don't want to pick this. I don't like either team.
Yeah, it's a tricky trap game. Minnesota and Nebraska, they play similarly. It's going to be one of those ugly, 13 to 12 games. It's going to be 12 to 14. A weird score, or 12-15. You're going, how did they come up with that? So we got to take one. You could flip a coin on this one. I'm going to go with Nebraska. I think that Wisconsin's a better team than Minnesota.
Yeah.
And as close as that game was, I think that they'll be able to beat Minnesota, even though Minnesota's at home.
I'm going to take Nebraska too, and the reason being is because I know someone that went to Nebraska, and that's the way I'm going to pick this.
That's the way that you pick it
at all. So that's the way I'm going to pick it.
We don't just use logic and reason here. What are you talking about?
I like their pretty little uniforms. That's why I'm going to. I think Nebraska's the better team over Minnesota. Minnesota's always on that cusp, but you always want them to be good, and you think they should be good. And then they're Minnesota.
So there's that. And after Clutch today, we're going to have a debate.
Oh, you're going to get smacked down. You and your three boys are going to get smacked down, smacked around. I've said 7 minutes in, the debate's over. Me and Confederate Mike.
I'm saying, look, my thing is here. You meet us in the streets, okay? For some bare knuckle talking.
I'd meet you in the streets and nothing but a pair of underwear because I know we're going to win.
That is crazy, but Mr. Judd, always crazy. You can catch him every morning from 11 to noon here on Hot News Talk Radio. Right now is Clutch with Keon Rose, and we'll be discussing more sports and things next.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world. News Talk 1240.
Are you tired of feeling like just another account number to your financial advisor? Try something refreshingly different. Call Edward Jones Financial Advisor Patrick Neal in Hickson at 870-7894. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
We've got a table here at Delia's in Saudi Daisy, ready to delight in a plate of authentic Mexican food. Delia's spreads a rich selection: loaded nachos, crazy chicken, homemade tamales, maybe the enchiladas with beef, chicken, pork, quesadillas. Every dish beautifully pictured on the menu to help us decide. Join us for lunch or dinner. We're at Delia's in Saudi Daisy on Dayton Pike near the Thrasher Light. Here's dinner. Delia's uses the freshest ingredients, cooked to perfection. Nachos, homemade. Delia's open every day except the Lord's Day. For lunch and dinner, treat yourself to Delia's genuine Mexican food. In Saudi, call 521-7145. That's 521-7145.
Social media, we're on that. Hot News Talk Radio on Facebook, at Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. Download the TuneIn app and follow us anywhere at any time. AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Brought to you in part by John Nelson, 5-Star Perfection Auto Detailing on Hickson Pike, up from Access Pharmacy. $99 special for listeners of Clutch. Just call 423-400-5143, 423-400-5143. Again, it's John Nelson, 5-Star Perfection. So, among the things that have happened this week, Will Greer gets dismissed from the team. I just said that all inaccurately. Wow. No, he was suspended. He was suspended for performance-enhancing drug use. And when what he's suspended for is not clear. First off, he was taking Ligandrol, which, is sort of a performance enhancer. It's a performance enhancer of sorts. Ligandrol is a drug that is good for bulking up. If you see guys at the gym and they're trying to look swole, according to swoleheadquarters.com, which is a real site, I am not kidding, you take Ligandrol. That's the drug. And my thought process is, when I saw this, was, how often do you see a guy pop for PEDs in college sports? And then I thought to myself, like, how often does this happen? How often does this happen? Is the drug test actually random? I'm not sure, but you just never hear about it. And I find it hard to believe that there aren't guys trying to get an edge in college, which is competitive, and for some guys might be the last time that they play football at a high level, organized football. And look, that's a tough thing to gauge for me. Because here's the thing. It doesn't appear that the drug is necessarily illegal. Not that the drug is necessarily wrong. And so when it comes to him bulking up like that, while sure, it does look and have the feel of illegality, the team is saying that he's suspended for some other drug entirely. What I want to know is why won't they report it? Like, what good does that do? The NCAA, their guideline on and their drug policy on their website is about making sure that student athletes don't take drugs that will be harmful for them. I think that's one of the good things that the NCAA does do with their student athlete moniker, is try and make sure that the student athletes are taken care of in the regard of don't take drugs that are going to destroy your body in the long term for short-term gain. You know, and I hope that they extend that on down to painkillers and things. You know, the student shouldn't take painkillers to keep going out and playing. You shouldn't, because your body is telling you that it's in pain and that it hurts, and you're saying no every time you put that Tylenol, Advil, or whatever is stronger than that in your mouth. You're basically saying, body, shut up, but your body's like, no, I need rest. And so I hope that extends to all that. But when it comes to taking things like Ligandrol, I personally think the NCAA, if they're not already against it, should be. And I don't have any problem with that suspension as such. I just don't. And while it seems completely arcane, I'd like to hammer Chase Utley a little bit more. Will Chase Utley be available for the rest of the NLDS? I think he shouldn't be. I don't think he should be available for the rest of the postseason. However long Ruben Tejada is out, that's how long Chase Utley ought to be out. Because, I mean, the fans are upset. And there have been some great signs. The little kid with the sign that said, Chase Utley is a Butley, which is my favorite. But also, the sign that said, Chase Utley loves ISIS. That might be a little excessive. That one might have crossed the line just a little bit. But Chase Utley, according to a report, should be available for the rest of the NLDS, which is insane because he's the dirtiest player playing in the postseason right now. When you go out to intentionally injure a guy, and I believe that he did, you should be suspended. Doesn't matter what sport. But baseball in particular, because baseball has that allure of being a more gentlemanly game than most sports. Football is violent. Basketball is about glamour and showing off. Magic Johnson and the Showtime Lakers, that when basketball is at its most fun, you've got one guy embarrassing another guy for no good reason other than he can. Right? Like, you look at the great football plays, they were plays made out of necessity. Like, I didn't have a choice here. I'm Odell Beckham. I make a great one-handed catch, but that's just because that was the only catch available for me to make. And I did something amazing enough to be able to make that catch. The same thing usually applies for hockey or rugby or any of those sports. Any other sports, but in basketball and soccer a little bit too. But in basketball, the crossover is invented to evade a defender. But you can do it so well that you actually just embarrass the guy. You can do a crossover and embarrass somebody for no reason. You don't necessarily need to have the ability to evade them. You could just be fast enough to get around them and still cross them over just to see if they'll fall. That's basketball. You just embarrass people for no good reason. That's not gentlemanly at all. Golf kind of has the gentleman's game demeanor, but so does baseball. So does baseball. That's the reason why people get mad at Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is everything that is not baseball wrapped into one person who plays baseball. Bryce Harper's an amazing player. He's an amazing athlete. But Bryce Harper's got this attitude that is so not baseball. That is so beyond anything that is baseball. He wears his shirt with the 3 buttons down, and he's what baseball needs. To be fair, he is what baseball needs. But that's not what baseball wants. And if that's not what baseball wants, then we can't stand for Chase Utley sliding into Ruben Tejada and breaking his leg on purpose. I don't think he broke his leg on purpose, but he did try to hurt him on purpose. And he should be gone. He should be completely out of there. We have a TV on in the studio, and I got distracted by this guy that looks like Dr. Oz for no good reason. I look. But back to Chase Utley. He should be gone. I don't want to see him for the rest of the postseason. I don't. He broke a guy's leg on purpose. That's unsportsmanlike. It makes the game look bad. And every game out there that Chase Utley plays is bad for baseball. It's good for baseball and it's bad for baseball. And I understand why he's still playing if money and viewers and eyeballs on the sport are what you want. If actual integrity and sportsmanship is what you want, Chase Utley's out of there. Plain and simple. If viewers are what you want, if viewers are what's more important to you, then you stick with Utley. You let him play for the rest of the postseason, the NLDS, if they advance, the NLCS. But look, it's wrong. It just is. And the stand that needs to be made to say that this is not what our sport is like is suspending him for the rest of the postseason. What's happening, though, is Chase Utley is bringing controversy and bringing people to the game out of the sheer controversy. That's why you keep letting Chase Utley play, because based purely on controversy, you're bringing attention to the sport, which baseball is in desperate need of. This is why baseball is partnering with FanDuel or DraftKings, one of the two. I don't remember. A sport that is keeping Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame because he gambled is now essentially endorsing what is gambling. Which, again, it is what they have to do. It's what they feel that they have to do simply because they need people to watch baseball. People have to watch baseball. Baseball's going to be around for a little while. I know we're going to talk about how, baseball's dying and it's going away. No. When you play 162 games in a season and then your postseason takes up another month, guess what? There is no getting out of here without money. That's a lot of opportunities to make some money. Baseball makes enough money to hang around here. But what baseball wants to do is what the NFL is doing, which is you're always trending up. You're always attracting younger viewers. Always. That baseball wants to be cool. So you do that. And when you've got a guy who you suspect might be a little dirty, a little sketchy, well, people tune in to watch players fail, especially dirty players. We like to have a guy who's a bad guy. We single him out and we watch him fail. The villain gets more attention than the good guy. That's just how it works. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. We attach narrative to things in sports. We make things stories, which is cool. It is. I have a lot of sports books at home. I have a ton of sports books. And all of my favorite ones are the stories. Well, you know, what makes a great story? The great villain. We like Batman because the Joker's kind of cool. You have a good villain in a story. And you know, the last James Bond movie, Skyfall, really cool movie because the bad guy was kind of cool. I mean, a good bad guy brings attention. And that, honestly, is why I think Chase Utley hasn't been suspended, which is, again, what the league feels it has to do, but is also really reprehensible. Is breaking a guy's leg worth it to you or not? I think breaking a guy's leg warrants a suspension. And if I'm Commissioner Manfred, I suspend Chase Utley. I don't even look back. I don't even look back. He's gone for the rest of the postseason. You know what? I think he should be gone at least as long as Tejada's gone, but I could go longer. I don't feel bad for Chase Utley, not even a little bit. Are you serious? This is Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. We're talking Chase Utley, or as one small child called him, Chase Butley, because that was a Butley move that he did to that guy, to Tejada. Unbelievable to me that he's not suspended, that he played last night. He got booed, which is some kind of punishment, I guess. That's the most that a fan can dispense. We can't not watch the game because he's in it, because then you're just punishing literally everything else about the game. You're punishing yourself. You're punishing the other players. I mean, I don't know. You can't boycott the game because Chase Utley is playing in it. It would change nothing ultimately. But if the league is serious about the look of the game, and this is what our game stands for, then you suspend him. You suspend him and you don't look back. Chase Utley should be gone from the postseason because he is a dirty player who tried to break someone's leg on purpose. That is just my opinion, but I don't think it's a wrong one. This is Clutch with Keon Rose on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Thank you for joining me today. It's sunny. Go outside, take a walk, spend some time with your family, and I'll see you in 23 hours.
Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, and myself for all the